Days after the 5 passengers of Titan have been confirmed dead, a lot of sensitive information have been circling around the internet. Like how the 19-year-old San was terrified to go on the expedition, but he went anyway just to please his dad who was so passionate about Titanic. Or the fact that one of the passengers' wife was actually a descendant of one Titanic victim. Even the biggest creator MrBeast just revealed he was also invited to this underwater trip, escaping death by lack of saying no. And there are many more facts around this tragedy that I'm about to share with you. These are the final moments of people on the Titan. It all started on June 16th. MV Polar Prince, the ship carrying the submersible called Titan, left Canada and traveled about 700 kilometers off coast. British billionaire, Pakistani businessman and his son, French explorer, and the CEO of the company offering the tour himself. These 5 went to see with their own eyes the world's most famous wreckage, the Titanic, which was about 13,000 feet deep. The next day, June 17th, one of the 5 passengers, billionaire Hamish Harding, proudly posted on his Facebook what would be his last post ever. This mission is likely to be the first and only manned mission to the Titanic in 2023. In that post, he mentioned how the weather has been affecting missions like this for the past decades. Can you just imagine if on the day they were leaving, the weather wasn't good? They would most likely be still alive. The next day, on June 18th, their dive was supposed to start at 4 a.m., but Titan was submerged at 8 a.m. And that's when the tragedy began. Some of them paid $250,000 just for this expedition, which was supposed to last for only around 8 hours. To reach such depths of the ocean is almost as hard as reaching space. At 9:45 a.m., which was 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, things would get out of control. That was when Titan lost communication. It was later on learned that shortly after this, the US Navy detected possible implosion sounds. However, it wasn't until 4 hours and 21 minutes later, 2:06 p.m., that the ship's crew informed the Coast Guard they lost contact. They were expected to return to surface by 3 p.m., but they were gone. At 5:40 p.m., the US Navy officially received the report that Titan was missing.
We were notified by the operator of the submersible vessel that it was overdue, and it had 5 persons on board.
Since then, we have been following this, one of the biggest stories in the world today. Both the US and Canadian navies started searching for Titan in an area roughly the size of Connecticut immediately the next day, June 19th. The most crucial fact was that Titan had only about 96 hours of oxygen.
And the 5 people on board likely only have enough oxygen to survive until 6 a.m. on Thursday.
See, it's just a submersible. It wasn't designed to spend days underwater like a submarine. At 5:18 a.m. of June 20th, underwater noises were detected by a Canadian aircraft. This brought up some hope. However, they couldn't be sure if they were the man banging the walls of Titan or just something else.
Every one of those noises is being analyzed, tracked, looked for patterns, and reported upon.
Rescuers said that looking for them was like looking for a needle in a haystack. By these hours, several experts have been sharing their theories on what could have happened. Some said Titan lost power. Some said it could have been swept by current. Some said that there's a very little chance they could be alive at the surface of the ocean.
It's very possible that by that period of time it was already on the bottom, getting ready to view the Titanic, and it could have gotten itself entangled somewhere.
And some said it could have gone through what is called a catastrophic implosion. It was at that point when people started to question the quality of Titan and Ocean Gate, the company operating tours to see the Titanic wreckage. How the safety of this expedition has been downplayed from the very beginning. Just listen to this.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death.
This clearly sounds like a red flag for safety, and this has only been their third expedition. A couple of years ago, an engineer even quit the company over safety concerns about the structural integrity of Titan. The company CEO said it was an experimental approach, and one journalist who did a story on Titan said,
I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components.
I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on!
Imagine having to control a vehicle thousands of feet underwater with a $30 game controller.
As explorers, we are pessimistic and objective. As it stands right now, it would be a miracle if they are recovered alive.
But it wasn't the time to blame anyone. The priority was, of course, to find Titan and 5 people. By the next day, June 21st, banging sounds were again detected. The size of the search area had also doubled.
And the hopes are that it will be found before oxygen on board runs out. They have about 24 more hours.
On June 22nd, the 96 hours were over. Still, rescuers were hopeful to find them, until later that day, some big news came.
A debris field was found near the Titanic, and experts are evaluating it. Crews are still holding on to hope and still calling this a search and rescue mission.
The debris were found only 500 meters from the wreckage of Titanic. A French rowboat capable of diving 20,000 feet became a main hope to find them. Until, unfortunately, the very same day, the biggest news came.
The U.S. Coast Guard says that all 5 people on board the missing Titan submersible died after a catastrophic implosion.
And as the whole world was grabbed by this tragedy, I can't help but see the double standards. 5 deaths got the attention of the whole world, but no one even spoke about hundreds of other deaths on this boat. See, just a few days earlier, almost 500 people died sinking in the middle of the ocean. They were escaping violence and poverty. It wasn't a fun journey to see the Titanic. It was a desperation. Just days before the Titan expedition, they all died. But did we care? Did all the media cover it? Did we see the whole world trying to save them? No, because they are poor, and we are used to poor people dying. That is the harsh reality of our world. And I leave you on this, because there's no better way of spreading awareness than using the perfect example of how in this world money makes lives worth more. Rest in peace, all the 505 people.